he picked her up. Her feet were off the ground and dangled her over the balcony. She was like, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I was like, he knows where we are. He knows where we are. All right, guys, coming to you live. Diddy trial day 16 here downtown. Prosecution's main witness today, her name is Bryana. I don't remember how to say her last name, but basically her, Cassie, Deontay, which was the stylist, Mia, which was the anonymous witness from last week, a bunch of them were all best friends together. So all of them were friends together. And Bryana was a creative director, and she started working with Cassie on a clothing brand. They became really, really great friends. And the first thing that she said when she got on the stand, which was crazy, was the prosecution said, what happened to you on September 26, 2016? She goes, I was held over a 17-story balcony and threw onto balcony furniture. That's what she said. That's how it started. Everybody's like, that's the balcony girl, because this was discussed in the opening statements, right? This was discussed throughout the trial. So this was a witness that was expected to testify. So people are like, hey, this is the balcony girl. I was held over a 17, and Cassie testified about seeing it, okay? And I was thrown into balcony furniture, okay? She said after she met Cassie, they became friends. And a year later, she met Puff. And she said she didn't want to meet Puff because the ways that she saw that he was treating Cassie. So she had never met him, but she said that she saw bruises on Cassie and she would hear him call her. One time she said that her and Cassie went out shopping, and he sent Cassie a message with a list of all the locations that they went to. So either he was looking at the car or he was looking at her phone to see all the locations he went to. An important thing to remember here is Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him, Sean Combs, he was not only dating Cassie, but he was also in a relationship with Cassie, okay? So a lot of these lines are blurred. Because if you give her a company car, you can probably see where your company car is at all times. I know that I've lent my company car to a friend that was also working for me, and I was able to see where the car was at all times. I was able to see when the car started, when the car stopped. And if you give somebody a company phone, you're going to likely be able to see where that phone is at all times. So the way the prosecution asked the question was more like he was stalking Cassie, which to me, it probably was a level of stalking there, to be honest with you. But it kind of gets boring because this is also his company phone that he's given her, the company car that he's given her. Prosecution went on to ask her, how did that make you feel when you saw that text message with all the list of places? And she was like, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I was like, he knows where we are. He knows where we are. All right. She testified to finally meeting him. She used to go to Cassie's house almost every day. She testified later on to hanging out with her every day and sleeping at her apartment every day on Comstock in Los Angeles. And she said that Puff lived on Maple Lane. I got to check that out. But he said it wasn't too far, probably 10 or 15, 20 minutes max. And again, I think what the prosecution was trying to say there is that he had close proximity to her. He could reach her when he wanted to reach her. He was down the block, okay? But remember, again, she had 3 apartments during this course of this relationship, and sometimes 3 different apartments at the same time, and they never lived together, okay? So she says that her and Cassie got high quite a bit together. First, she said on a regular basis. Then when asked about it the second time, it was weekly. When asked about it the third time, it was, well, more than weekly. And when pressed about it, was it every day? Was it daily? It was, I don't remember. We're going to get to the I don't remembers because I could have just filled the rest of this book with I don't remember, because the pattern continues with the prosecution witnesses that are pressed on cross-examination about the differences in stories they've been given. Now, I know a lot of the other media outlets aren't going to tell you guys about all the inconsistencies and the differences in stories that were given, but I will tell you guys, there are a hell of a lot of differences here. I'm not going to get into everything. We'll do that on a sit-down long-form video, but I'm just going to get to the main points. They did drugs on a regular basis. This is all still on the direct examination. She also says that she used to come to her house unannounced, Cassie's house unannounced, while she was sleeping at Cassie's house. She said sometimes at Cassie's house, she used to sleep on the couch, sometimes outside in the patio, and sometimes in the bed with Cassie. And she said Diddy would come there sometimes unannounced in the middle of the night, okay? And he wouldn't knock on the door like a normal human. He would bang on the door. and say, let me in, open the door. Then the prosecution asked, well, how would he get in? Or did he used to come into the house? And she said, yeah, he would come into the house. And she said, how did he get in? And she said, I don't know. I don't know how he got it. Now, I probably have an idea. He has a key. It is it is the apartment that he's paying for, and it's also his girlfriend's apartment. And I'm probably willing to bet that the apartment was registered under one of his companies. So he probably had a key. I'm sure he didn't kick the door down every single time. But if you believe the prosecution in this direct examination, that was the tone. Like, I don't know, somehow he forced his way in. I believe it was an apartment, so I believe they probably put the chain lock on or the extra lock. So when he's trying to open the door and come in the middle of the night, he's probably banging like, why is this locked? Why is this on? Why is this chain lock on? I remember that used to happen when I was a kid. My parents used to do that. Sometimes they would come in and by mistake, I would put the chain lock on when I came in and they would bang the door, move, open the door, bang the door. And, my parents weren't nearly as abusive as Pop. I can imagine that he was probably being a lot more aggressive with the door and yelling and carrying on, as he has been known to do. All right. She said that she hadn't witnessed violence. She's witnessed bruises and stuff, but she hadn't witnessed violence until one time she claims, and the reason why I say claims is because we're going to get into the cross, but she claims that he came into the door, burst his way into the door, picked up a knife, threw it at Cassie. And it didn't hit her, thank God. And Cassie picked up the knife and threw it right back at her. And this is the type of violence that he witnessed, okay? She picked it up, threw it right back at him, and said that I was too scared to call the cops. I was scared of Puff, and I was too scared to call the cops. She said a different story afterward, but she was too scared to call the cops. She said after that, she saw injuries on Cassie multiple times. Then she testified about the karaoke, Cassie's 29th birthday party, and they went to the karaoke. I think it's Deontay, the stylist. He testified about it as well. But this was the karaoke incident where what they said was Cassie had a 29th birthday. Her and Diddy were there, and she left abruptly because Diddy wanted to do a freak off, and so he got his freak off. Okay, that was the story. That was what was told. That's the way it was stated based on the questioning by the prosecution, okay? Today, I found out something interesting. Today, we got some more details about this story, okay? The Deontay guy gave us that they went home, packed her stuff, and then she left for the freak-off. Today, we got that they all left the party. So the party was done. The way it was said in the beginning was that as if she left her own birthday party, and he basically took her from the birthday party and wanted to do a freak off, so she did the freak off. That's how it was said in the beginning. But actually, they all left the party, which means the party was over. Either it was over or was forced to be over. But either way, it's not like the party was still going on. They all left. They went to her house. She packed her bags, and they went to go and do a freak off. Also, the other thing that we got today was that they were fighting at the party. So when they got to the party, they weren't fighting. But then, they got into it, and they said, do you know what they were fighting? I'm like, what were they fighting about? I don't know, but clearly they were fighting. I could see that she was uncomfortable and maybe they were talking, I don't know, loud to each other or something. Then they left. Then she went to his place. They did a freak on. Okay. So maybe it's that he was saying, I have something planned for you. Maybe thinking that he was going to give her a freak off for her birthday, which one of the escorts did claim something like that he gave her a freak off for her birthday before. Maybe he was going to do it again. Who knows? And maybe she still wanted to stay with her friends. And he was like, I planned this for you. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But clearly there was some sort of argument there. I thought that he wasn't even at the party. Maybe I have to go back in the transcripts, but I don't remember Cassie mentioning that he was at the party in the beginning. I remember the questions being, tell me about your 29th birthday. What did you want to do? She said, I wanted to do karaoke. She said, did you have to leave your birthday and do a freak off? Yes. Did you want to do the freak off? No. What did you want to do? I wanted to stay with my friends at my birthday. But now we're hearing the birthday was, I guess, done. But I guess how can you continue it if the birthday girl's not there? I just want to mention one thing. This right here, the knife fight, walked in, threw the knife at her. She picks up the knife and throws it back. I want you guys to remember little things like this, okay? Little things that give signals of autonomy, okay? Because this whole idea is that he had her locked up, basically. She was scared and she was, in mental distress and couldn't fight back. And basically he had her locked up metaphorically locked up, right? So she couldn't leave. She couldn't leave. But we've already got testimony here of multiple boyfriends. Michael B. Jordan, she was with at a time. Deontay Nash testified to that. She was obviously with Kid Cudi at a time. At a time, it was said that she was dancing with Chris Brown. She said she wasn't actually dancing with Chris Brown. It was said that she was going to a Drake festival and she was associated with that name. Who else? Obviously, we know that she started a relationship or some sort of relationship with the trainer that, Puff had hired for her while she was with Puff. And then now she's with the trainer now. This is signs of being able to do what you want to do. You got your own fashion business that Diddy was not a part of, that you did with this lady, Bryana. You also got a knife thrown at you and you didn't run for cover. You picked up the knife and you threw it right back. I mean, if you're really, really scared that somebody's going to kill you, you don't pick up a knife and throw it at them. I'm just pointing out little things that other people don't report to you. Okay, I'm not making any interpretations, but just make sure that you remember these small little tidbits that we get from certain people. It was also by Capricorn Clark. She said she started off as a sweet girl and she ended up a sassy girlfriend. Sassy girlfriend that throws knives and, cheats and was known to hit him. Cassie testified, I used to hit him back. She was in South Africa. She blocked him from her phone. Blocked him from her phone. These are signs of autonomy. Now, all of the psychologists are going to come on here and say, you don't understand how abuse works. First of all, I do. Don't tell me I don't. I was in an abusive relationship with not me as the abuser, with me as the victim. And it was, before you guys get crazy, it wasn't so, okay, I get it. I haven't experienced something like that, but I have been physically abused by people who are older than me. Okay. And I do know how that works. Okay. And here's the thing about the psychology, like even the psychologists they put on the stand. The frustrating thing with somebody like that is it doesn't matter what it is, they're always going to be right. Just think about it. Are victims of abuse, sometimes do they call the cops? Yes. But sometimes they don't call the cops, right? Yes. Victims of abuse, sometimes they don't tell anybody, right? Yes. Because it's embarrassing? Yes. Sometimes they do tell people, right? Yes. I mean, if you're going to be an expert and just go both ways, say yes to everything that we ask you, all activities, all actions of the person that's abused, it is possible, then that's not really actually saying much. Furthermore, one of the things that we have to understand about this is if Cassie was calling the cops, was telling the cops, was texting him saying, I don't want the free cops, I don't want the free cops, I don't want to do this, and there was a bunch of evidence of that, the prosecution would ride on that so much. They would say, yeah, you see, she told him she doesn't want to do it. There's text messages, there's emails, there's all these things, there's all these conversations. She's told him it's obvious. And now the opposite, she did the opposite. She told him she does want to do it. And now there's an excuse for that too. So either way you flip it, there's no way for a false claim or an embellished claim. There's no room for it. It doesn't matter. Because if she tells him she doesn't want to do it, then you're going to harp on the fact that she told him. And if she doesn't tell him and the opposite says that she actually does want to do it, then it's Stockholm Syndrome. Okay. So I get you. Now, I went on a tangent because I don't know why people they do this. They do this. I don't know why people do that. Let's be logical here, people. Let's be honest and let's look at both sides because we want justice, right? Okay. Next. After they went to the party, as she left, blah, 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 she testified having immunity. Oh, yes, that's another big thing. She testified having immunity because she was doing drugs, selling drugs, buying drugs. I used the word druggie earlier today, and I was corrected, and it was addict. But after hearing the rest of her testimony, I'm back to druggie. I'm back to druggie. This woman she got immunity because she says that she gave Cassie drugs, multiple times. I can't count how many times. Ketamine, coke, what other drugs? Marijuana, oxy, ecstasy, G. I don't even know what that is. G. Like, I actually don't know what half of these drugs are, to be honest with you. She and her and Cassie, they were doing drugs all the time. And according to her, every day. Okay? Now, think about this. Cassie and Diddy also called themselves high partners. So we just have a bunch of, if you want me to just say it, we have a bunch of junkies over here. This is what we have. We have a bunch of junkies who are rich and out of control. This is what is happening here. Okay? She testified to doing drugs with Mia. She testified to doing drugs with Deontay. She testified to doing drugs with just her and Cassie. They did drugs almost every day. Another time she said they did do it every day. And then she then started talking about a time that they were all having a photo shoot with a photographer named Bad Boy. Ironically, no link there. They were on the beach and Diddy was in the house, in the Malibu house, came down, maybe drugged up, who knows, came down, went right into her face and said, "I'm the devil and I can kill you." She didn't say he said those exact words. She did say he said something like, "I'm the devil and I could kill you." All right. So that was her testimony, the direct examination. And we took a break for lunch and we came back and then things really, really turned for the worse for the prosecution. Well, actually, they finished the direct when we came back from lunch. Then they went into the cross. So just quickly, we go back to the story about the balcony. That's how we started it. And now she gets into the details of it. She says that she was looking at the view. Diddy came in, went onto the balcony, and he grabbed her and he picked her up. Her feet were off the ground and dangled her over the balcony. She testified that she did not know why. And she said, "What are you doing? What I do?" And he said, "You know why. You know why I'm doing this. You know what you did," or something like that. Okay. That was her dangled off the balcony story. Then we went to the cross. Like, share, subscribe, and share the video specifically because more people need to be talking the truth out here. I'm not giving you the narrative. I might give you my 2 cents here and there, but I'm more or less keeping it real.